Kick off. Hello, curious people. Again, thank you so much for joining another community workshop. Today, we speak about resumes. Resumes. Everything resume. Today is Thursday. Last Monday, Chibali was there along with a few people, I think, here as well from the last session on Monday. And we were talking about put a personal brand for yourself. All right. By personal brand, we mean how can you market for yourself? How can you consider yourself to be an organization, right? Like treat yourself as an organization, as a product, as a service provider, and market for yourself as a company. So how do you manifest your presence? How do you communicate what you bring to the table, like your talent, right? And your experience and so on and so forth, and how you can do this digitally and in real life as well, right? And we paused last time. So we spoke about a lot of personal brand techniques, a lot of pillars, a lot of aspects, but then we paused at how do you market for yourself in real life? And you do this in two ways. The first way is your documented experience, whether you're sharing it in soft copy or in a hard copy, aka your CV or your resume. And Hussein, by the way, thank you very much for coming on video. And the second way would be networking, in-person networking, as in there is a conference, an event like this, right? That's a perfect networking opportunity right now where you come to a place. So many people have the same interest, are interested about the same topic, interested in the same space as you are. So you want to always be there and make sure that you are visible, that you're heard, that you're seen. So again, if you want to come on video, it might be a good idea so people know who you are. And this is how you maintain proximity. This is when you become what we call top of mind, right? You start playing with your positioning. And these are two things, two techniques to boost your branding and to effectively communicate your profile and what you're capable of with others. Those two things are your resume and your ability to network. Today, we speak about resumes. Next workshop, we will talk about networking, right? Which is, I believe, happening on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So today we speak about resumes, but allow me to start by asking everyone a question here. What problems do you guys find related to the resume topic? And because of the problems or this problem, you are here and you're looking to leave with a solution. And the reason why I'm asking this is because I want to make sure that by the end of these 2 hours, you have left with exactly everything you came to look for, and you know exactly what you need to do afterwards. So in brief, why are you guys here? What problems are you trying to solve? Namarig, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right. Please feel free to unmute and correct me. Namarig says, I don't know if my resume passed ATS system. Very good, very good. Now we're talking systems, right? For those who don't know, an ATS system is basically a filtration kind of software where it reviews applications, it reviews resumes, and then it detects keywords, and then it says, or it tells if that resume is relevant or not, so that the recruiter doesn't have to do it manually, right? So my understanding is that Namarig wants to make sure that her resume is passing this filtration process. Very good. Vanessa says using the right words or terms under experience. So if I got the question correctly, in the resume you have an experience section, and Vanessa wants to make sure that whatever he or she is mentioning under experience is the right thing to mention. Abdul Rashid says, can get to interview stage with my resume. So Abdul Rashid keeps applying, doesn't seem to get enough callbacks. Haya says, I want my resume to reflect transferable skills from my previous role, clinical, to a non-clinical or to a management role. So here I am hearing that I am super hands-on. I have strong technical kind of experience and skills and achievements. Now I want to transit, not necessarily to a different career, but to play a different role with a different nature, with different requirements to which I don't have enough experience to showcase for. And how can I sell my profile this way? Very good, very good. Chibuli says, effectively communicate my skill set with quantifiable successes. I love the word quantifiable. How can I present the numbers, present some measurements to prove the impact of the way I do things, right? So when I did things this way, it resulted in these business results, or these were the numbers. Very good, very good. Hussein's issue is, I think my resume doesn't get shortlisted because of lack of relevant keywords. So I want to know how to use relevant keywords and highlight the achievements. Very good. Fatima says, I want to showcase my internships and projects to clear the screening process for fresh graduate roles since I don't have any work experience yet. Fantastic, fantastic. Keep them coming. Danielle now says, is there a way to draft one fit for all? At times, applicants lose hope as resume crafting for each job gets cumbersome. So I have some good news. Everything you guys shared now, including what Namarik just added about how can one change resume every time, is that a must? Does that have to happen and in order to match the job? So every single thing that we mentioned right now, we're going to keep all these questions in the chat, because at the end of the session, I would love us to go through them really quickly and make sure that we have ticked all the boxes. You know, we've answered all of these, and also we have recapped on even more things we're going to learn. All right, because what you guys mentioned here is like a portion of what we have to cover today. So you got me excited because I know it's relevant for you guys, talking about the content. And let's see how this goes. Christos is just adding, there are many templates for resumes. Is going for a nice looking resume a good idea, or should we stick to the older looking classic ones? Very good. We will talk about templates as well. Fantastic, fantastic. Keep the questions coming, because the more we leave questions in the chat later, the more we can go through them and make sure that, you know, we have covered all the points. We have answered everybody's questions. So let me start by asking you guys a question before we cover agenda, before we cover anything. Do you guys know what is the average CVs received or applications received per job opening? Generally speaking. I'm receiving replies in the chat. So Fatima says 150 to 200. Namarik says 100. Eli says 200. Shibali says more than 200. Amr says 100 to 10,000. Vanessa says more than 300. Fatima says more than 300. Nusrat says more than 10,000. You're all right. The reason why you're all right, because it will depend. It depends on the size of the company. It depends on the demand on the role. So the more in demand the job is, for example, customer service representative is a role that is being hired, like, you know, in mass attitude. So it's a mass kind of talent acquisition play where you need to hire 1,000 people every month, for example, right? Or 500 people every month. So these guys receive loads and loads and loads of CVs. For a product manager role in a smaller company, you would receive 5-6 applications only. So you guys are right. If we take an average, we find that the average number of CVs received per job opening is around 250. But that's not the thing. Do you know how much time a talent acquisition person willing to spend to review each of these 250 applications? How much time do you think they take to go through the CV? Chibali says 6 seconds. Namarik says matter of seconds to scan. Fatima says 5 to 6 seconds. Other Fatima says 15 seconds. Nusrat says 10 seconds. Hussein says some seconds. Everybody's speaking in seconds, and you guys are right. And that's an average. 6 seconds is an average. Chibli, are you asking ChatGPT or what's happening? Because you got the number like spot on. You're like 6 seconds. So yeah, it's 6 seconds. I'm just poking some fun.
Okay.
You guys see the issue here? And do you guys know after this scan, 250, I need to go through them really quickly, filter the relevant ones. Do you know how many of these 250, after those 6 second kind of reviews, how many of these 250 will be called back? Take a guess. Nusrat says 5 to 10, Haya says 10, Aham says 10 to 15, Namarik says 10. It's actually only 5 to 6 people will be called back out of 250. Could somebody please make the math and let us know the ratio here? Ali, thank you for coming on video. It's good to have you here. Could somebody please do the math really quickly and tell us? So Isuru says 2%. Isuru, it's so good to have you here. We were just chatting in the morning. Yeah, pleasure is ours. So 2%, 98%, 98%, the application won't go through. You have 2% of a chance to get called back. That is challenging, right? And we're going to talk about interviews later next week. This is the 4th workshop we're holding. So last week we hold... Last week we have held the personal brand workshop. Today we're talking about resumes. Next workshop on Monday we talk about networking, and then the workshop after that we will talk about how to crack an interview. I'm not going to be alone. Mehrad, the co-founder of Qureos, is going to be with us in the same session. Is going to be a super fantastic workshop. We've run it before, by the way, got really good feedback. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys there. But to speak about this, do you know in these, like in this interview process where only 5-6 people, only 2% of people are involved, do you know how many of them are likely to get a job offer letter? Fatima says 1. Hussein says 1 to 2. Nusrat says 2. It's actually only 1. 250 people apply. 1 person gets an offer. What we're going to solve today, by the end of today, we will have solved this problem here. How can you survive the scan and get called? So anything that has to do with surviving software or automated filtration, anything that has to do with templates, anything that has to do, what do I write there? How to make sure that I am being called back. That's what we're going to cover today. And in order for us to reach there, we need to cover 4 different items. So we're going to have 4 stops, tick 4 boxes. By the end of the 4th one, we're good to go. The first thing we're going to do is we need to align all of us on the definition of what a good resume is. Because it's not like, this one looks good. This one is colorful. This one looks classic. So this one is better than this one. It doesn't work this way. What is a good resume? What makes a resume a good resume, right? So the definition of it. And then we want to see the types of the resumes. When to use, because there are different types, when to use which type of resume, given your experience, what you want to mention, given the type of role you're applying to as well, given the seniority of the role, right? How senior are you to apply? There are different types. We're going to go through them. And then we are going to go through steps like now, okay, by the end of the second point, you're going to go like, there's some work I need to do with my resume right now. So how do I go about this? And this is going to be the third question we want to answer. So what are the steps? Give you guys a framework to go through, and I'm going to do this and do that in order for me to make sure that my resume is strong enough, is a good resume. And last but not least, I'm going to show you a lot of resumes. This is going to be an exercise where we together are going to play talent acquisition people. We're going to play recruiters. We are going to look up, after everything we've learned, we're going to look at the CVs and go like, that's a good one. That's not going to pass. That's a good one. That's not going to pass, right? So you will start thinking like talent acquisition. So now you have enough empathy. You see how things are being seen from the other side, and now you know exactly what you need to show. What are the do's, what are the don'ts? You know what good looks like, and what is it that you need to fix in your interview. So this is basically the agenda. Are there any questions about the agenda? So, Nusrat says all good. So, you know, guys, in digital or like online sessions, the rule of thumb, they say count down from 10 seconds in your head, because until somebody is typing something in the chat or someone is thinking about unmuting, it's not like we are in a room, right? Like if we were in a room, people are just gonna voice out, but since it's difficult, this is why every time I will ask if there are questions, I'm gonna pause for a second to actually wait if someone has questions. Me saying this, 10 seconds are up. So I'm going to move forward. But of course, like if you have any questions, if you need to interrupt at any moment, feel free to just unmute and speak, drop it in the chat. I'm being attentive. So let's start with the first question. What is a good resume? Muhammad. Muhammad, you are in a creative mode. Not sure if you guys see what I see, the drawing on the, that's Muhammad being creative, I think.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just figured that out.
It's all right. It's all right. Is this something you wanted to share or it was a mistake?
No, just I'm in love with the Qureos. That's what I wanted to share.
Well, we're happy you're here.
Thank you.
All right. So what makes a good resume, guys? What makes a good resume basically is that it lives to its definition. Your resume plays one role. Are you guys with me? A resume plays one role to prove that you are the relevant person for the job. Your resume is meant to play this role of proving that you are the relevant person for that job. And it needs to be convincing enough, detailed enough to serve that purpose. The difference between a CV and a resume is that CV is about who you are, right? Tell me about yourself. So you're documenting everything you are about. A resume is meant to be an application tool. I am applying for that job. So tell me as a recruiter or a hiring manager, then just tell me why I need to consider you for the job. How relevant is your profile to what I'm looking for? That's it. I don't need to know too much about you that your resume looks too long or too loaded or too wordy, right? I got 6 seconds, remember? So in these 6 seconds, I want to look at the resume, find the words I am looking for. My brain is working as a checker now, right? I have a list of words. Is this word here? No, 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 no. Then this is not the right person. 6 seconds and it's gone. So it's not about the colors or the design or whatever. It's about if the resume is proving relevance or not. And the way you document relevance is by mentioning 3 sets of information. The first set is your experience, relevant experience, your knowledge, whatever you have learned, whatever you have, education, certificates, all these things, credentials, whatever you have. So your experience, everything you've worked on and your achievements and all, and then what you know, and mention what proves that you know, and then your contacts, if these people want to reach you. That's it. That's it. I don't want to know about your hobbies. It's irrelevant. What relevance do hobbies add to the application unless they are relevant? You are applying for a sports coach and you say, my hobby is to work out 5 days a week. That's relevant to you, the hobbies you mentioned, right? Or you're applying for a copywriter and in the hobbies you say blogging. That's relevant. But don't apply for an engineer and say a hobby section, I like swimming. How is that relevant? You see what I mean? Unless it's relevant, there's no need for you to mention. Okay. I'm going to take a pause. Let this sink in for a second. A good resume is a resume that succeeds to provide a documented relevance and a strong reason to why you are the suitable person for the role. Amr is asking, is there a possibility to cover on how to have a good resume to impress talent acquisitions for an intern position, especially not having sense of? Yes, we're going to go through that. So it says, how can I get the recorded version of this? An email right after the session will go out, or maximum tomorrow morning with the link to the recording. Daniel is asking, is this statement a good resume subjective? Daniel, no, when you look at, it's objective enough if you look at the purpose of it, the purpose of the resume, right? Yes, it's subjective when people come to you and say, you should have mentioned this. There's no need to mention that. But what I will share with you today, Daniel, is not do this, I'm sharing with you how talent people think, and then you are going to translate this into your resume. You see what I mean? Just if you don't mind, Daniel, ask me the same question 30 minutes from now. But let's all remember, all right? I'm going to come back to this word subjective. Let's come to it in 30 minutes from now, and let's check if that's still there. Ofran, no worries. I hope you can hear us properly. Let us know if you need any technical support. So yeah, a good resume is a resume that documents relevance. How? How do you put your experience and knowledge and context in a way that would provide relevance? On 3, 2, 1, I'm going to show you a good CV. Are you guys ready? On 3, 2, 1, and that's a good one. What did Angela do now? What Angela done is basically put together a cover letter and a resume. And in her cover letter, she has mentioned her contacts and everything, but she also mentioned why she is interested in that specific company. Are you guys with me? Look at this. As a lifelong fan of Argo drones, technological progress and accomplishment, blah, blah, blah. This is where she is applying. You guys see this? It's Argo drones here that she's sending to. There is a Jason, right? Jason is the hiring manager, works at Argo drones. So in the cover letter, it's not like, hi, I am driven, high potential talent who admires, I don't know, integrity. And it's not about that. I want to work with you guys. Back to ATS, huh? This is how you pass these things. So what Angela has done is that Angela has put together a customized, personalized, targeted cover letter. Let me stop the share and ask you guys a question. Just 1 second. Is it frequent? Do you guys find it normal that you are asked for a cover letter? So when you're applying to a job, there is a space for resume, but do you find it common that there is also a field for a cover letter? Is that common enough? So Christos says yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes. Chibili says yes. Natalia says yes. Exactly, right? What is your urge to sit and personalize and tailor make a cover letter and upload it? Because the easiest thing is just to upload the resume because it's mandatory. There is usually the red star and you have to upload your resume. But then for the cover letter, most of the time it's just optional, right? So Namarik says, but I'm basically saying things in my resume, right? Precisely my point. Why do you think companies are asking for cover letters? They already know you're going to mention everything in the resume. What's the point of asking for a cover letter? Do you want to know why? Haya says it's more personalized. Haya, we're going to come to the resumes. You will explore and discover that even resumes need to be personalized as well. Isuru says to see if you're really interested. Natalia says to see motivation. Isuru and Natalia are going in the same direction right now. Namarik is joining, saying they want to know how you can match them. In process management, if anybody here has studied project management or process management, you guys will know like where I'm coming from. Or Six Sigma, or like anything that has to do with like supply chain or process, or there is a rule of thumb or more of a school that says, let the garden weed itself. I'm putting it in the chat. Let the garden weed itself. What does that mean? It means you don't have to invest a lot of time filtering things. Build a process that things are eventually being filtered automatically without you needing to invest time or human interaction or whatever into the thing. Let the garden weed itself. If we all know that, but man, like whatever I'm going to say in the cover letter is already in the resume. You care about whatever is mentioned in the resume, my experience, my knowledge, my context, just like we mentioned the definition of a good resume, something that has these three things. Then why the cover letter? The cover letter is because if you do not attach a cover letter, somebody else has. First step of filtration. So the moment you're applying to a job, they ask for a cover letter, you decide not to attach a cover letter, know that you have just wasted your time applying to a job that you're not going to get a call back from. You already filtered out. So if you're not willing to invest the time personalizing the cover letter and attach it because they asked for it, so it has to be there. And back to what Isuru said, Natalia said, and Namarig as well, if you are not keen to put in a little bit of effort, a couple of minutes to make sure that you're providing evidence that you're really interested in this, so you're getting their attention, you're going to be filtered out. You're going to be ending up with the pile of those who did not fill the cover letter. So not, okay, let's see those who have filled the cover letter. So why do you do the cover letter? For them to look at your application. All right. Now, so this is the cover letter, right? Now let's look at the resume itself. What's happening with the resume? The resume, as we mentioned, we are looking at experience, we are looking at knowledge, and we're looking at contacts, right? When you look at this resume, what you guys see on your right-hand side here, does that give you those three things? When you look at this, can you instantly give yourself 6 seconds? Can you instantly put your hand on that's experience, that's knowledge, and that's contacts? Is it super straightforward? In one page. Very clear, very simple, straight to the point. That's a good resume. There is no too much talking. There is no like graphics kind of thing, right? Very straightforward. I'm having, yeah, thank you, Chiboy.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So for the CVs, is the length, does the length matter a lot? Like, how many pages should it be?
One.
For example, for a student, for a university student with not much experience applying to a job.
One.
One. Okay.
Unless you are a consultant who have a portfolio. If you are early in career, as in a fresh grad, an undergrad, like for an internship position or something, or in the first few years of your career, or you're more senior than that, just one page. Isuru is asking a question. Does having a picture of yourself in the resume help or not? What about someone with 10 years and have about 5 companies that have worked? What's the maximum page? So yes, it's 1 page, as I mentioned, but let's talk about the picture. And this is when I want to come back to, where is the question? To Danielle's question, is this statement a good resume? Subjective. This is where I tell you guys about the picture, for example. So let me stop the share again. How are you? So good to have you. Hi. You have heard people saying, have your picture on the CV. And you have heard other people saying, don't put your picture on the CV, right? To cut this short, this is the logic behind having a picture in the CV. If your face, if your appearance is relevant to the job that you are applying for, then put your picture. If your appearance is not necessarily relevant to the role you're applying for, you don't need to have your picture up. I would actually advise against it. How do you know if your face is important or is relevant? How do you know? I'll give an example for men. I'll give an example for ladies. All right. For men, if while you're shaving, for example, and then you cut yourself, and now you're super stressed about going to work with a cut on your face, then your face is important. But if you go like, oh, I cut myself, I'm just going to put a plaster and just go to work and it's fine, or a bandage or whatever, this means you don't have to have a picture on your CV. For ladies, it's the hair. Think about, you just came out at the hairdresser and you have your nice hair and everything. Or if you're veiled and then you have a nice veil on and all, and then while you're going out, they drop, I don't know, water or it started draining or whatever it is, and then your hair is spoiled. If you're worried about your appearance, your hair or your makeup or whatever, and now you're stressed about your job, that now your performance at work will be impacted, then you need to have your picture on the resume. Else, you don't need to have it. So for example, for roles like an actor, for roles like a salesperson, for roles like a public speaker or a trainer, for roles like a media host of some sort, right? All of these things now, your appearance is important. Business development, for example, partnership stuff, you know, even a leadership position. Sometimes if you want to, if you like, part of your job will be meeting experts or meeting experts as in other experts or meeting government officials or stuff like that, your appearance is important. This is when you need to have your picture on the CV. But if you are applying for a technical role, behind the desk kind of role, a technical support engineer, product professional, operations person, like anybody who's working behind a screen most of the time or behind a desk most of the time and doesn't have to be customer facing, you don't need to have your picture. That's the logic. So it's up to you guys. You see what kind of roles you're applying to and then get the logic. Does the interviewer need to see how I look like, or it shouldn't matter? That's it. If yes, it should matter, put your picture. And of course, what kind of picture should we have? Not the picture from the vacation on the beach. Don't do that. Put a picture that goes with your personal brand. If you want to refer back to what I mean, go to the previous session. The recording is there. Go with a picture that showcases your personal brand, right? Like if you want to be uptight and formal and stuff, then you put a picture that says you are. If you want to say like I'm creative and this and this and that, then you put a picture that says you are. But both scenarios should be professional pictures, not too casual, not in a social setup, not in low quality. No. It has to be something that is decent, it looks quality, picture of quality, because that gives you credibility. Let me pause here for a second, you have a lot of questions in the chat. Danielle is asking, do you think this page on the right, which is the resume, varies according to experience? Yes, we're going to come to this when we speak about the types of resumes. That's a fantastic question. We're going to get to that. Winnie says, do I have to tick all things they need or match one or two things is fine? This question was asked. Could you please chime in on this? Thanks. What do you mean by all things they need? What do you mean I have to tick all things they need? Could you clarify that a bit? Because Namarik replied, I guess it's just making sure to match what they need. They need to see you have it, you have what it takes. Yeah, but like, are you talking about experience, or are you talking about skills, or are you talking about both? Or are you talking about the fact that we need to upload the cover letter if they ask for it? And then Namarik is asking, it's like going to a meeting and covering your face, so I guess better to put a picture. Yes, if the face is relevant to the role. Again, the resume needs to provide relevance. Danielle is asking, yes. So Shreyas is asking, how about software developers? You don't need a picture for a software developer, right? Because it's not going to be an asset. As in, it's not an asset that you use to get your job done. So this is in a nutshell. We have now answered the question, what is a good resume, right? And if this is not clear yet, please let me know. We can recap on a few points. But the first box out of the 4 boxes that we've ticked so far is, guys, a good resume is a resume that is successfully conveying and communicating how relevant you are to the role. And the simpler it is, the more straightforward it is, the better it is, and the more likely it is to survive the process. Remember that the process is filtering itself. So make sure that you're conscious and you're adjusting your resume based on that. Now, moving on to the second point, which is what makes a resume a suitable resume? In other words, and this is a question for everybody, how many resumes should you guys have? How many resumes you guys think you should have? Ali says, I have 4. Why, Ali? Why 4? Ofran says, can we put our profile picture in your resume as electrical engineer? Why? Why do you want to put your picture? Now, question to Ofran, what's the point? What value added it is to put your picture? Daniel says, I wish to have one fit for all. I'm going to get to that. Abdul Hasib says, one for every application. I love that one. Namarik says, depends on how many jobs I apply. Yes, you're right. Shreya says, should be tailored as per job. Yes. Abdullah says 2. Haya says 1 basic structure and then you customize based on role. Haya, let me know what you think after we go through this coming piece about the suitable resume, about the 1 basic structure and then you customize based on role. Christos says depends on the type of job that we are interested. Yes. Says numerous depending on how many industries you plan to apply. Yes. Chibli says I have 2, one for IT, the other for data science. Okay. Wolfran just shared their CVs, so we're going to take a look at it. If you're comfortable, we can take a look at it, and everybody here can give you feedback. All right, after we've gone through the thing, everybody here can help can help you refine it and make it better. So let's see if this coming piece will answer the question. There are 3 types of resumes. All right, what you guys see here, are three types of resumes. The first one, which is on the left-hand side, it's called the reverse chronological CV. How is this CV template, because this is a template or structure, how does that template convey relevance? Only if, you guys with me? Only if you are taking the next natural step in your career. Meaning that you have been in that domain, in that career for the past few years. You started as a junior and then a senior and then a supervisor, and now you're applying for a manager role. So you're still in the same track. You have cumulative experience. You have cumulative experience, and you're just trying to convey that, see, I have experience in this, and then this, and then this, and then that. So it's natural. It's a natural move for me now to do this. This is when you need to have a reverse chronological resume. But if case number one, you are shifting career. Case number two, you are switching roles. You were technical and now you're non-technical, right? Or you are a fresh graduate or early in career or applying for an internship and you don't have solid experience yet. Then how do you say I am relevant? You do not do it backwards from experiences because you don't have any. You do it backwards from what the role requires in order for you to be successful at it. And I'm talking about the skills. So you provide some relevance that you have these skills that are needed to do this job. Look closely at the functional one, the Thomas resume, all right? You will see that after the summary, in the beginning, I see there is a paragraph that starts with the word results driven, right? Right after the summary, the first thing that is mentioned is skills summary. Research, writing, creativity, social media, time management. Why these skills? Because these are required for the job. And then look at the experience. The part of the experience is very small. Afterwards, it says intern, public relations intern. And then education is like university of I don't know who. So it's very clear to us when you look at this resume, so this is an early in career person, but they understand the role because they're talking about the skills required for the role. So yes, this person doesn't have direct experience, but it looks to me the message I'm getting out of the resume as a talent professional is this person understands the role. They know what it takes. Looks like this person is interesting. I want to talk to them. Because although they don't have nothing to prove as an experience, they still have proven that they understand the role. So it just proved something. That's interesting. Not all resumes should be reverse chronological. Sometimes, in some contexts, you would want to dodge this experience challenge and just put together a functional resume. Let me pause here for a second. You guys tell me, how is this landing with you now? What are you thinking? Let's take a pause. I want to hear how is this landing with you? What questions do you have? What are you thinking right now? What is your reflection on the speech? That there is a difference between a reverse chronological resume and a functional resume, and they're not both the same. And it depends on your role. It depends on your status and your progression, or like your stage, which stage you are in towards mastering that role. Whether you're an intern, you're shifting career, or you're taking the natural next step. How is this landing with you guys? Isur says, how about a fresh in a new market, but ideally looking for a parallel or step-up role? Isur, this is going to be a reverse chronological resume, right? Because you do have the experience. So you just mentioned that. Where is the So back to the questions. Namari says, but I don't think all companies has the same needs to a resume. Haya says, functional makes sense, somewhat answers my initial question about clinical to non-clinical role transition. Very good. Shibli says, make perfect sense. Winnie says, makes a lot of sense. But back to Namarik's point about, but I don't think all companies has the same needs to a resume. What do you mean by not all companies would have the same needs to a resume? You mean they won't all require the same thing across all like other companies in a resume, or you mean they don't require a resume? What's the question here? Could you please provide a bit of clarity on that? I'm receiving positive kind of reaction to this point. It looks like this point has given people some clarity here. That people are now looking at, that makes sense. So not all resumes are the same. Sometimes I'll need that template. Sometimes I'll need this template. But look at the third one. We haven't spoken about the third one yet, right? What the third one has is what we call a targeted resume. And maybe, just maybe this answers Namarik's question. Maybe. The essence of having a target resume is the same as tailoring the resume to fit this role in this company. So this means that you mention the name of the company and you mention the role across the resume. And here I want to pause for a second before we jump or we dive deeper. What is one thing you immediately notice that is common about the three types of resumes? Look at the three resumes, top to bottom, and tell me what is something you keep seeing. It's always there, top to bottom, in the three of them.
The 3 points that I kind of see throughout the three resumes are the context, knowledge, and experience. They're all included in all three resumes.
What is the section, Amr? The first thing that you see in the three of them? The resume starts with, yes, the summary. If your resume doesn't have a summary, it has to have a summary. I will tell you why, Amr. ATS again. This is your playground where you make sure you're mentioning all the relevant words in the world to make sure that the software has picked this resume. Because you can't play a lot with the details under experience and education and this and that, right? Like this is a little bit standard. Like you've been playing this role, for example, so under experience, you're going to mention this role and then you're going to say, I was accountable for this and that, and I was doing this and I achieved this and that. That's kind of static. You won't tailor this. But, and this is back to the questions that we received in the beginning of the session and the chat about how do I make sure that the software is picking my resume, right? It's not filtering it out. Take a note of this. This is magic. Read the job description very carefully, the one that you've seen in the job ad or the job post or whatever. Read it very carefully and make sure that the keywords are mentioned in the summary at least once across the resume, but then the summary becomes your playground here. Anything that has to do with skills, for example, They said project management, and the way they have written it, they've written it wrong. Project management are 2 words, but then they said project dash management, for example. Write project dash management in the summary, because they said that they mentioned this. They said ability to work under pressure. Don't say I'm flexible and say, oh, but flexible is ability to work under pressure. No, no, no. Say work under pressure, ability to work under pressure. But where? How are you gonna tailor-made the resume if your experience is the same and the knowledge is the same and the contexts are the same? So how are you gonna do it? You do it in the career objective, they call it, or they call it the summary up there. And the summary is the mini cover letter. I am interested in that job in this company because it mentions keyword, 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 and I believe I have all of the above. And below is a showcase or a detailed report of how I'm showcasing this, and then experience, and then knowledge, and then context, and then I don't know what. Now the software is looking, word is here, word is here, word is here, word is here, this word is here, this word is here. That's a relevant resume. Oh, pops up for the talent acquisition person. Looks, goes like, yeah, experience, clear, knowledge, clear. These are the contexts, super straightforward. This is a relevant CV. Hello, Chibali, open for an interview. Done. Back to the question, how many versions of your resume should you have? It's backwards from how much do you want to be called back? You want to be called back? Let me come back to this. Then you need a mix of one and the other of 2 things. One would be either a reverse chronological resume or a functional resume. Reverse chronological resume is highlighting your experience, your direct relevant experience in that domain. Your functional resume is highlighting your mastery of some skills. I worked on this project, or at uni, I was the ambassador of I don't know what, or I was part of this club where we did these projects or run these events or whatever, right? One of these, but either or, it has to be a targeted resume. As in, you're making sure to tailor make, to, what's the word? To modify or to update the career objective section or the summary section with the keywords that are mentioned in the job post. My friend is being very encouraging, because my friend is saying that's a great idea. Now I know how to target a job. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. I didn't read the footnote, by the way, but if you haven't noticed, under each of the resumes, there are a few pointers, like a summary of the explanation I'm providing right now. Are there any questions about the types of jobs? Now we have covered what is a good resume, what is a suitable resume. Before we go to what is the right resume, you see this right resume and you say, this is right. You look at another one and say, this is wrong, it's not going to work. It's dysfunctional resume, objectively. I'm counting 10 seconds, and then I'm going to move forward. Alrighty, cool. So what is a right resume? This is when we talk about the steps. So what are you going to do now? I want to apply to a job. Let's go backwards from the purpose. The purpose of a resume is I want to now, I like this job. I think it fits my vision, it fits my needs at the moment. I'm interested in the job. I want to apply to it. How do I go about this? First step out of 6 steps. Read the job ad very carefully. Why? Because you're looking for these keywords, remember? So you're looking at the job ad with a critical eye, and you're trying to analyze what is it exactly that it takes for somebody to succeed in this job. It looks like this person needs to be data driven. It looks like this person needs to be a tech savvy. It looks like this person needs to be super people oriented. It looks like this person needs to have high emotional intelligence, right? So you're reading and then you're extracting the keywords. That's the first exercise. You're skimming through LinkedIn, you're skimming through Qureos, you're skimming through, I don't know, Indeed, whatever it is. You go like, that's an interesting job. Okay. Keyword number one, that's it. Tuck, 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 tuck. You take note of all the keywords. And then the second thing is you target your resume's summary, this career objective or the summary paragraph. This is when you want to make sure that it is tailor-made based on these keywords. So these keywords are mentioned, right? And as I mentioned earlier, mention the company's name in the summary. Mention the job title exactly as it is. If you're looking for a sales manager position, say sales, I am looking forward to applying to the sales manager position at Nestle. Don't say sales professional, say the exact same title. If it says sales manager dash Mina, copy paste, exactly. Next. Next, you need to target your work experience. And what we mean by that is important. And this is for more of experienced people. By experienced, I mean they have had various roles, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 roles in different companies, they made their impact and everything, but it's not all directly falling into the same career path. So I was an engineer, and then I did product management, and then I did marketing, and then I did product analytics, and then now I'm doing data. For example, you started as, I don't know, an engineer, and then a product person, and then this, and then this, and then this, like this. I need to know the relevant experience to not make the resume super long, but to also make it relevant. But what I want to highlight is that this doesn't mean that you do not mention other things. So the right way of doing this, guys, is to put together the experience. Like you have a subtitle called experience, right? And then you list the company and the year, and then the title, and then the responsibilities and achievements, and then another one, and then another one. And you, of course, you always say the responsibilities and achievements in just 3-4 lines, each one, for the top 2 or 3 positions only. 2 or 3 positions only, that's enough, that you find most relevant to this role. And then have a smaller title after you've listed those 2-3 relevant experiences. Add other work experiences and list company, year, and title, and that's it. You see what I mean? Under each other, like a list. Other experiences, I've also done this, I've also done this, I've also done that. That's it. So whoever looks at the resume will know that you've worked in this company. You've held this position before, but you're only being chatty, you're only being detailed when it comes to the relevant work experience. Yeah, let me check the chat. So Chibli is asking, Ghofran is asking, tell us about how we can approach technical or engineering job. I'll tell you. Chibli is asking on the last point, does that mean we come up with the relevant past job title? And then got it. So yeah, I think I just answered the question. Haya is asking, what if the only work experience you had is not relevant? Functional resume. If you don't have enough evidence or enough work experience to provide relevance from an experience point of view that you are the right fit for this job, then do a functional one. Highlight the skills and go like this job needs problem solving skills, right? I have that. So start with problem solving. I worked on this project, which taught me problem solving. I know this tool, which helps me problem solving. I know how to apply this framework of thinking, design thinking, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And therefore I'm good at problem solving. You see what I mean? Once you think I don't have the experience, whether I'm an intern or I'm shifting career or whatever it is, go for a functional resume. Let me put functional resumes again. There you go. So the functional resume is the one in the middle. That's the one I need you to do if you don't have a relevant work experience. You're welcome. How is it going? Let me stop the share. What's happening? Talk to me. You're welcome, Chibli. Who's here? Let me check. Abdul Rashid, Abdullah, Ali, Christos, Daniel, Ili, Fatima, Ghofran, Hamna, Hussein, Isuro, Kilin, Namarig, Natalia, Nusrat, Regina, Shrayesh, Shumalia, Sundus, Vanessa, Winnie. What's happening? Is it Winnie or Vinny, by the way? So I'm seeing very insightful things. So far, so good. Getting ideas on what to improve. Very informative. Great learning. Very informative. Very good. Any questions coming in? We're good with time. We have time for questions. Yeah, Christos is saying I'm processing all of this. I know. Might be a lot. Which is good, right? Like if you feel like, oh my Lord, like there is a lot of work I need to do now in my resume, that's good. Now that means you're learning something new. So Narig is asking, can you review my CV by sharing it here? There are two ways of doing this, guys. We're good with the time, so we can just take a look at some resumes. I have some templates for us to practice, but we can practice with your CVs if you're comfortable sharing them, and then we can put them on the screen and let's give everybody feedback. And also, you can always book a mentorship session with me, which is like a one-on-one session for 30 minutes, where you and I are going to look at your resume and I'm going to give you direct feedback, what to fix, how to make it better, and so on and so forth. It's all on the platform. Like we can do it. You can do it on your own time. Just go in, you'll find me, book the session. So that's there as well. So if you are comfortable sharing your resume, let's do it. So I have Ghofran's resume right now. What happened? What's happening? So I have Ghofran's CV here, and they wanted us to go through it. Isuru just shared his as well. But then I don't want to miss on questions. Nusrat says, if we have taken a break, do we need to specify that on the reverse chronological type? No, you just write, you just put the dates. And then if there is a gap, you don't need to highlight it, right? Like just start and end date, start and end date, start and end date for each position. And that's enough. And then Shresh is asking, so having the same resume for all the job application would be a very bad idea. It's not a very bad idea, but if you're asking yourself, why isn't anybody calling me back and how can I improve this? Make sure that every resume is targeted. By targeted, I mean it has this tailoring aspect of mentioning the keywords, mentioning the company's name, mentioning the role, all of these things. CV is everything you're about, right? CV is, this is for Hamna, because Hamna's asking, can you please explain some difference between CV, resume, and cover letter? A CV is everything you're about. A resume is what we're discussing today. This one paper that has your experience and knowledge and context. A cover letter is what comes attached to the resume that explains the reasons why you are interested in the job. Let me put up those slides for you in for a second, just 1 second. Where is it? Yeah. So, Hamna, if you look at the screen right now, because you're asking about the difference between a CV, a resume, and a cover letter. On the left-hand side, that's a cover letter. On the right-hand side, that's a resume. A CV would look like a resume, but it's much more comprehensive. It has everything you've done in your life, right? Everything, all your achievements. It doesn't have to be relevant. It doesn't have to be, like it's more generic, or it's more like skeptical of the, not skeptical, what's the word? Secular of the job. Doesn't have to do with the job. Take a screenshot. On the left side, that's a cover letter. On the right side, that's a resume. Sondos is asking, how will we get the recorded video? You will receive it in an email, a link to we upload this to YouTube, so you will receive a link to the recording in an email. So be attentive to your inbox. By tomorrow morning, you'll have the recording. Yeah, it's all right, Hamna. Ask whatever you want. All right, shall we start looking at resumes? Wow, a lot of people have shared their resumes. Ghufran is asking, when the company asks about the interview date, what date do we give them? You mean they call you and then they ask when are you up for an interview? Never say today, I can do today, because you sound too available. But say, ask what time, or how soon would it work for you? All right. And then if they say, well, we can do today, you go like, I would be very happy to meet you today. Is it possible to make it tomorrow though? Just for me to plan my time and be able to prepare. When we talk about interviews, Ghufran, when we talk about interviews next week in the workshop, we will mention that the biggest mistake, that's a spoiler, by the way, for next week's session. Do you know when they interviewed interviewers, like when they asked recruiters, what is the biggest mistake that interviewees make? More than 70% of recruiters said that the biggest mistake they see is that the interviewee didn't do their research. They don't know about the company, they don't know about the role, they don't know about the hiring manager they will interview. So when somebody calls you and asks you, how soon can you come for an interview? Don't make it too available. Don't go like, I can come now. And mention that the reason why you would rather have it tomorrow, or can we have it in 2 days or something? Because I want to make sure I have done my research. They will respect you loads for that. I want to make sure I'm prepared for the interview and I've done the necessary research. So is it possible to make it Tuesday? Is it possible to make it Wednesday? That's usually a good answer to that question. Shibali is asking, is it important to have a cohesive design in both the CV and cover letter? Of course, it is, just to make it look harmonious, like you don't want to have something that is completely different design than the other one and then they look like they don't belong to each other. Consistency is always a good idea. Yeah. Nusrat says, using too many colors in the CV makes any different. For what role? If you're a graphic designer or a product designer or a visual artist or something like that, then you need to showcase your ability of communicating information with arts. You see what I mean? To make a point. So using colors and using shapes will be relevant. But to do it just in an attempt to make the resume look nice. One of my mentors asked me a question when I was asking them one time, one of my mentors, I asked them how colorful or what kind of design, what kind of template should my resume look like? And my mentor asked me, how do you think Google's CEO resume look like? I said, I assume it's super boring and classical and like, super basic. He was like, there you go. As long as it is conveying as simple, straightforward, the font is not too big, it's not too small, it's probably read. Like back to here, you look how clean this is. Not too many words, it's straightforward, it's organized. It has a little bit of a design element, with the tag, with experience, with education awards, just one thing, it's simple, it's minimalist, it does the job. That's a good resume, but you don't have to make it colorful. It makes the reviewer's brain busy because they're looking at so many information, different colors, different shapes, blah, blah, blah. They have 6 seconds, right? So you need to make it easy for them. They don't care about how your resume looks. They care about your profile. So make sure your resume is doing that job, right? Are you ready to review resumes now? This is interesting. I'll tell you why. Because now you get to see other people's resumes and then you go like, haha, that's a good idea. I'm not doing that. This is why they are getting callbacks. I'm not, right? Or the other way around. They go like, well, I'm doing a good job. So are you ready to look at other people's resume? If you're ready, unmute or type in the chat that you're curious. Until then, Amr is asking, do you recommend a specific website to find out a suitable template? Microsoft Word has templates. What do you call this? Apple's Keynote, not Keynote, Pages has templates for free. Just go with a simple one. It doesn't have to be like all these templates out there. It's just commercial, right? Like whatever it is, as long as clean, it's organized, it does the point. Just figure out whether you are like you want something that has a picture in it or you don't need a picture, whether you want a functional resume or you want a reverse chronological resume. These are the things that matter. But the contacts are on the left side, hand side, or the right hand side. Well, you have the contacts, and that's enough. Ghufran saying, Ghufran, pray for us. But you have your resume. Like, what do you listen? We're gonna wait for you. Go pray. We'll take a look at another resume until you come, and then we take a look at your resume. All right. All right. So I'm scrolling up in the chat right now, and the first CV of a lot of CVs being shared is Isuro CV. Did I get that right, guys? Is this the first CV we see when we scroll up? Because there were a lot of resumes shared at one point. So now I am opening it. Hold on, let me get my mouse for a second. Oh. All right. Are you guys ready? Isuro, on a scale of 0 to 10, how nervous are you having your resume?
About
Relax, bro. Relax. We're not interviewers. This is to set you up for success. And here we go. All right. So I'm gonna take a step back. I want to hear you guys takes this resume, and for the sake of Isuru's well-being and his success, let's be as detailed and as supportive and as proactive and as descriptive with our feedback as possible. What do you think of his resume? What do you like about it? So what do you think he needs to keep? What do you think he needs to remove? And what do you think he needs to change? What is it that you like? So that's a good idea. Add this or remove this or change that. Chibli says hobbies must go. Nusrat says change profile first. So you're talking about this part, Nusrat, right? You want him to change this to what? And guys, unmuting and just speaking is an option, right? Everybody's microphone is open. So if you want to explain, that would be easier for you, then we're all ears. Nusrat says change profile first. Very good. Shreya says change activities to relevant ones to the job. Where, when you say activities, which ones? You're talking about this one here?
Yeah, excuse me. I was surprised to see his name in two colors, the black and the blue. I don't know what's the benefit of having two colors.
So you think it's better for Isuru to have this in unified color? Very good. And then Nusrat says contact should go down, believes contact is up.
Yeah,
I don't mind
I
it.
think his CV is quite okay, only that the eyes are drawn too much towards the color part. You know, the green part is attractive, the blue part is attractive. So within 6 seconds, I think a recruiter would really get confused what to look for.
Yeah, generally on this, like on the 6-second scan experience, think of it as a road. Think of it as a journey with the eye. So I need a starting point and an end point, and you're helping me follow along. Look here, look here, look here, look here, look here. Now it looks like there are two parallel stories, and I don't know where to look. This is probably, Chibli, what you've experienced, right? Like you're like, should I green, blue? What's the difference? This is what I meant by the brain is busy now, right? When he says let key skills appear on top. Abdul Rashid says at first glance, I think he's very experienced. It's a good impression. Says, I believe that there might be too many points under one experience. Yeah, because look what happens when we scroll down, guys. And look, like this is a 3 pages long CV, right? 6 seconds. Who's going to read all of this? Like who's going to sit and spend time reading all of this? It's like reading newspaper, right? Says, I believe that there might be too many points under one experience. Yeah, exactly. That's what we covered. Namik says, honestly, it is very clear in terms of formatting, maybe add more stuff to profile. All these words for one job. That's from Ali. Amr is now like kind of surprised that there are actually 2 more pages plus the one we've seen. Makes it a little too long. Shibli says it's very detailed and impressive, but is it all relevant? Look at this. How is Isuru positioning himself here? Yes, Nusrat. There you go. That's a CV. That's a CV. That's what I was going to aim at. That's a CV, not a resume. Very good. Very good. Here, Isuru said, I'm a digital and performance marketing strategist, right? How relevant is this? See what I mean? And how relevant is this? He's a strategist. I don't need to know that he's been an executive at one point. I don't need to know all of this. If I'm hiring a strategist, that's not the thing. I need to know the direct experience that would help him do his job as a strategist, for example. So Shibli says, need to summarize all that into a 1-pager for resume. And when he says customize for the job you want and leave out information that's not relevant. Yes. So in a nutshell, what are we seeing? In a nutshell, we're seeing a profile of somebody who gave the impression that they are experienced, right? I like the picture because for marketing people, appearance is usually important, and it's professional and everything. We had a couple of feedback pieces, Isuro, on your resume, like it's too busy, it's too long. The use of colors might be not necessarily sometimes, like for example, having the name in two colors or having the blue and the green, unless you're using the blue and the green to tell a story, to plan a journey, right? And then Nusrat now says he can use functional type for these experiences. If he wants to show the skills and like in a way that he's applying for a role that doesn't have directly to do with digital marketing, yes, I would definitely agree that he needs to go with a functional one. But this CV is very strong on the digital marketing side of things. So it makes perfect sense for it to be chronologically or reverse chronologically put. However, let it be more focused. Here, pick 4 points, 5 points only. These are too many, for example. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you for being bold and for being open to learn and for having a growth mindset and for sharing this for all of us to learn. You just done us a favor. Isoro, thank you so much. Let's go to the next favor. Christos, you're next. Christos, are you ready?
Excited.
Excited. Let's just get done with this. All right. And here he is. Yeah, feedback, guys.
By the way, I'm going to add after learning from this hours, this is a CV, not a resume. I'm just making this clear from now.
Mm-hmm. You guys let me know if you want me to go back to the first page. Nusrat says education should go down after projects and experience. And experience should come before project. So basically, switch education and projects, Nusrat, right? This is what you're saying. Sundus likes the layout. Sundus says it's easy to read and clear. Amerik says it's clean and clear. So Rashid says, I think this is general and not targeted. I'll ask you one thing. Looking at this is the first page, right? It's the first page of the resume. What is the job of a resume again? You guys tell me. One job of a resume is to provide
Relevant information.
Relevance. Relevance. Thank you very much. Now tell me, what is this resume relevant to? In other words, what does this person do? You should look at this and know. Like when we looked at Isuru's resume, for example, it said digital marketing strategist, right? We know what this person does. What does this person do?
Yeah, it is not specific at all. It is very general. You are right.
So one thing I have feedback on is to highlight your brand. How do you want to position yourself, right? I like the way Usura has done it. Like you put a one-liner as like a title or a motto or like some sort of a grade for himself, you know? That's what I do. This is the problem I solve. So as a professional, what problem are you solving in the professional space? And then here I study management, science, and technology. So here I am picturing you go to college every day. That's the mental picture I have of you. With a specialization in supply chain management, so you're studying supply chain management. I'm a great team player who wants to learn new things and discover more about the world. I love this if it's mentioned in the job post. If the job post had, we're looking for an enthusiastic, we're looking for someone who's eager to start a successful career, we're looking for a great team player, you know, if the job post is mentioning these keywords, then I'm in love with this part. Okay, now, this is NFT. But you said you're interested in supply chain, or that's my understanding. When I looked at this, so this person is studying management and technology, specifically supply chain management, right? But then what is this person trying to achieve in their career? That's what I'm trying to find out from the CV so far.
Yeah, the problem is that I don't have a relevant experience. Like I haven't done an internship before. So I was trying to put pretty much everything that I've done kind of connected. So with this thing with the owner, I could say project management, which is a part of supply chain, but I should have specified it.
Then what kind of a resume do you need now?
Now I'm applying to a lot of jobs, so this means that I need plenty of resumes, not just one.
So which one? Looking at this, what do you have? What kind of resume do you have?
Right now, this is something from all. It's not a resume, first of all. But I think from what we'll learn today, a functional resume would be the one to aim to create.
Yes. Awesome. So how helpful were we? Like Christos, do you know what you need to do now?
Yeah, it was very helpful, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you, and thank everybody. And thank you for allowing us to learn. Who's next? Whose CV is next? Just hold on a second. I'm scrolling up. And I am finding Jibreen. Is Jibreen here?
Yeah, it's Ali.
Who? Where?
Ali.
Ali. Ah, Ali.
Yeah, exactly.
Ali, sorry. The resume has the last name first, so I got confused. Sorry about that. Okay, are you guys ready for Ali's resume? Drum rolls. And here it is. Yeah, guys, feedback.
Can I add some feedback?
Yes, please.
So with the first site, I believe that the summary is very good because it's efficient, effective, which would probably be keywords in a job description. But because everything is black and bold in the main text, I believe that if only the titles would be in bold and the main, in not bold and a bit smaller, it would be more clear.
Very good, very good. So the first feedback is the what do you call this? The format, right? So what you're saying is only titles should be in bold, but then regular text should be in regular font. Very good. Amr is mentioning that there are some grammar mistakes in the summary section, and there is no need for the third reflection. Oh yeah, the reflection, this part, Amr, you're talking about the reflection from the picture here in the image. Yeah. So I think what Amr is trying to say is that the picture is over formatted. It could just be like a simple picture. Nusrat says experience is not relevant. Why do you see that the experience is not relevant? Abdul Rashid says great content, concise, probably needs to work on format and style. Add numbers or achievements to the experience section. Okay. From Nusrat says from call center to sales. The first, so you're talking about this piece here, Nusrat, right? Like you see that this piece here is not relevant. And then Amr comes back and say, I believe it's relevant. Let's have a conversation for a second. Nusrat, why do you see it's not relevant? Amr, what's your logic? Why do you see it's relevant? And then Ali is going to be the judge. Ali is going to come and say, Nusrat, you're right, or Amr, you're right.
Okay, I'll defend my point first. Well, I can see that Ali is applying, or he's a customer service officer, which means that he needs to develop specific skills regarding in order to become a customer service officer. And he demonstrates that by being in a call center agent as well as a call center operator in different countries. He was able to develop these X amount of skills. And these skills that he learned or developed throughout these two experiences is relevant regarding the other experiences that helped him get other higher jobs in the sales industry.
So Amr is taking the experiences, although the title or the field is not that relevant, but the transferable skills are. Whatever Ali has learned being a call center agent has taken with him in the sales field, right? That's a point. So Nusrat, now ball in your court.
Oh, well, Mina, I see like he's coming from back to the desk, from call center side, where he's receiving the calls and raising complaints and resolving issues. And then what I see on the sales side is more customer facing with the changing in the role itself. So I could say like a technical to the sales. This is what my observation here.
Would cutting down on these, like if he just mentions that I've been a call center agent from the refunds team, I've been a call center operator here, without needing to mention these, would that still give the sense of relevance or the fact that there are transferable skills, or he still needs to put in all of these details?
I think if he removes that points, receiving patients and communication complete, I think that's more relevant.
No, I do actually agree with removing some of the points that he have mentioned in those two jobs. Especially like, for example, handling the angry patients, relatives. So maybe probably mention a different or have a different, I don't think it's relevant at all to mention that. Maybe talk about a specific demographic regarding the patients that you're dealing with or the customers that you're dealing with. And maybe just have actually a skills, like under the skills section, where you could talk about a little bit more regarding the call centers and what you learned from the call centers experiences, and only have one of them instead of both of them in.
Amazing. Ali, you're the judge. What?
Actually, I'm confused. So I have applied for jobs, but there's no call back. So I'm confused to know who's the right.
So what you're saying is you've tried having a resume with call center agent experience and tried having another resume without, and you still didn't get a call back?
No, I think it's relevant. So in the both rule, I deal with customer service. So I think it's relevant. But the points that Samir says about handling angry hour skills, I think he's right about it.
Awesome. If I may add, oh, you have a, who was talking? There's somebody.
Kelly.
Karin, we're all yours.
I think the experience is relevant. Only the adverbs used, they're not strong enough. But these experiences are all related to customer service, because in sales you deal with customers. As a call center agent, customers, even as an electrical sales engineer, you still deal with customers, giving their feedback, what they would like you to do in regards to the product. So I think the experience is okay, only that the bulleted points, he should use stronger verbs to communicate what he did and how it is relevant to his customers, his role as a customer service officer.
Well said, well said. And Shibuli, we see your hand up. You want to add something?
Yeah, sure. First off, the way is sort of labeling the titles, starting with the year, with the month, and the year in brackets. I think that's not really a nice format. It's hard to read. Secondly, if you can go with the success factors, what sort of success did he achieve at each of these positions that he had? I think that will add more value in that. A possible recruiter would look at his CV and look at the value addition that you definitely add to the team. So I think if you can look at that instead of it just being very descriptive for this job by communicating with customers, their complaints, things like that. Like out of maybe 50 or 60 customers, how many were successful with your service provision, things like that. Like add numbers and figures. That would definitely tell a stronger story of your CV, to show that you're very driven, you like to achieve things, and you're very focused, and you figure your ability to function in a company is all about what value you add to them. I think you need to definitely add that.
Fantastic points, guys. Fantastic points. And before we move to the next resume, if I may add one piece of feedback. Ali, are you listening?
Yes,
Awesome. This resume, because you mentioned the word confused, right? I am confused. I'll tell you why I'm confused. Because the first or the way Ali Jibrin is choosing to position himself is that he is a customer service officer. The first thing he says in the summary is, I am an efficient and effective sales representative. But you just said, I'm a customer service officer. And here you say, I'm efficient and effective sales representative. And then you say, with over 2 years of experience in call center. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Think like a recruiter, 6 seconds. I'm looking, this is a customer service person who's trying to break into sales. So he doesn't have enough experience. So no. Because of this logic, I would encourage you to do one of two things, taking everything from what the team has shared. Because I think both Amr and the rest of the team, Amr had a strong opinion about the call center experience not being very relevant. The rest of the team was like, yeah, it's kind of relevant. It's up to you, Yali, whether to put a resume that is a functional resume. So you're highlighting the skills. So you go, for example, first by selling skills. It's the first thing I want to see. If it's functional, like let's go back to the types. And I hope you're still looking because this is important. Like you guys see the functional resume here. The first thing you see is a skill. So here should be selling skills. And then you mention all the positions that you've worked in that helped you gain proper selling skills. I used to be a sales representative and this and that. I used to be a call center representative. You know what I mean? So you're mentioning multiple posts, but you're trying to make a point. I am good at that skill. And the reason or the point I'm trying to make, I'm trying to get your head in one place, huh? Back to your resume, man. You know this vibe that I'm getting, like a customer service officer, but then here starts to say, I'm efficient and effective sales representative, and then comes back and say call center, blah, blah, blah. And here clearly the experience is going from call center to sales engineer now, right? And then another sales officer. But if you're trying to nail a sales position, you don't put sales skills as the last skill in the list of skills. It should be the first thing, right? But
Yeah,
here,
that's right.
you put handling customers even before that. If you're trying to land a sales job, I should only see the word sales. Back from the personal brand workshop we had last Monday, I want to tell you something, Ali. Have you given marketing or advertisement a thought before? Because if you have, you would realize that if there is an ad about a brand, it's a rule of thumb. You don't see any other brand in the ad except for that brand, for that logo.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Right.
Like if there is a Coca-Cola ad, you only see Coca-Cola. That's it. You will never see Pepsi or you never see Nike, or it's just Coca-Cola. So if you want to position yourself as a sales professional, try to position the resume that this is a resume of a sales professional. Mention other stuff, but make it look minor. Mention it, it's there, but don't put it on the spotlight and don't start with it as the first thing. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for giving us the learning experience, Ali. Guys, what we're doing now is fantastic. And I hope you're also leaving with value. Just check 1 second. Ghufran, we've been waiting for you. Do you want to go next? Ghufran. Because I see Ghufran is here, but not replying back. Let me see who else shared their resumes. We also got Namarig next. So let me see. So it looks like Ghufran is not back yet. Namarig, can we look at yours?
Yes, actually, you can.
How do you pronounce your name right?
My name is Namarik.
Namarik, شوف like I'm completely off tune here.
Yeah, it's an Arabic Sudanese name. Yeah, actually, it's from the Quran, but yeah, it's quite confusing.
It sounds music. It sounds like a good name. All right, so Namarik, to your resume now, guys. Feedback.
I just want to say that for the photo, because I feel like you guys might be asking why I didn't have a photo. Just for this thing, I didn't have a photo, but yes, I do actually put my photo. I just wanted to say that.
Okay. You know, you don't need to, right?
Yeah. But generally, I actually put my photo, but just because I don't know, I just didn't put it here. But yeah.
Okay. Ahmed actually agrees. Ahmed I just read your comment in the chat. Ahmed's like, no photo for a technical position. That's perfect. So now I think we're getting the point, which is great.
Again, if I may start, it's a very good, clean, minimalist CV. I think she only needs to add, the quantitative element as it is. She's done a bit of market research. What sort of figures, what sort of matrix does she define as success in market research, and what were sort of the outputs that came from that? Things like that. You should always add figures and numbers, because you're really just talking about being an enthusiastic industrial engineer, and with that comes lots of quantitative analysis, matrix, mathematics. You need to add in all those numbers. That they're definitely very impressive to whoever is going to fund you to do any market research or any engineering R&D, or just any sort of research in-house or externally. I think it's quite important to add those figures.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think I actually have a section achievements. It's just, maybe I think coming to your point, maybe I should put that up, like it's all the way down.
No, like define, instead of defining your roles or explaining what you did, define how you help the company achieve certain things. So each description of each role should be achievement based. What did you do? If you just say, I went into work, I did market research, so they'll ask you, so what? What about market research? What were the outcomes? So always talk about each role that you've been in. What value did you add to that company? Always add in numbers. Did you save in terms of financial cost or time cost, or are you good in project management? What projects did you do? What were the return on the investments? Always add in those figures on each of the roles. If you just say, I did this and that, it's very rudimentary, very elementary. It's quite, everyone can do that, but how did you go above and beyond the job description? Yeah, I think I'll say that. Just try to add in those success factors.
Yeah, thank you for that.
There are a lot of other things in the chat as well. I'll go over them really quickly. Danielle says, how about providing, I missed Amr's comment first. Am says, I don't reside in Dubai, but I don't understand the purpose of mentioning that you have a driver's license. So if it's not relevant for the role, like for salespeople, for example, or medical reps or stuff, because they do drive. So it's important to say that, they do have a driving license, but maybe for some roles, it's not that relevant. Danielle says, how about providing more wider space to the summary? It's a good point. Like maybe you want to have it like give some justice, and in order for you to be able to put more keywords. Karine is saying nationality, maybe not very relevant. Yeah, I agree. If Namarik is applying for positions outside of the country where she needs sponsorship, that might make a difference. That might be relevant. And also, I saw Namarik, you mentioned the visa status. I saw that. So that could also compensate for this. So people like either or, maybe like if you have the visa status mentioned, which is smart, then you don't need the nationality. Just thinking out loud. The decision is yours. Like in this workshop, guys, we tapped into the perspective, and then it's our call now, right? How to do things. Ahmed is adding another point I realized regarding your resume, what exact position you're applying for. If you find that may be stated under your name, yeah. Abdul Rashid says, looks great, and I agree it needs more quantitative achievements. I think with a good format or style, she'll have a great CV. So a little bit of format here again. Nosrat says, I don't see her work title. So that's the second time we hear that comment. And then Ahmed is adding again, as you mentioned, you are an enthusiastic industrial engineer, but all your work experience is product testing, e-commerce. So what exact position are you applying for? And on the same lines, Nawarak, if I were you,
Yes.
I would take these two pieces completely out.
Mm-hmm.
One, they are not directly relevant. Because again, like you mentioned, you are an industrial engineer. First thing here I see is product, right? And then here I see e-commerce intern, but then here I see coordinator, and I don't know what this means, given the fact that you've done this for 3 months. And then here there's a quality assurance. So again, something a little bit, not very directly relevant to industrial engineer or to a product tester, but at the same time, it's only 1 month.
You see, the thing is, because for those of you who might be confused, basically I studied industrial engineering and engineering management. So my major, it's literally divided into 2 pieces. So that's why at the beginning I was in the industrial, side, which is like quality assurance and stuff. And then because I was not able to find other, related jobs to the industrial part, that's why I moved into the management side, kind of like within the e-commerce. I was managing certain things, as you can see. So that's why I need advice on that, because my major in itself, it's actually very wide in there. I studied supply chain, I studied product development, which is why I have product tester. So that's why I need advice on that.
The advice,
it's literally very wide.
Yes, the advice is, Nawarak, focus on what is it that you want to do, not on communicating what you have. Because communicating what you have is confusing both you and the reviewer. They don't understand what is it that you're trying to do, what is it that you're trying to achieve now. So you need to give them, like I agree with the team, for example, having a line that states, who are you, right? What are you trying to achieve? I am an industrial engineer. Just say that, like Namarak Muhammad Hassan, industrial engineer under it, right? Or engineering management, or whatever it is, something to position yourself, give some direction to your application. And of course, the more this is flexible for you to tailor, so it depends on the job and everything, right? The better. But generally speaking, and you mentioned the first thing you said right now is, I know why people might be confused. This is how you started the sentence. So know people are confused.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to make it more directed, and then you will have better results, as in better application results.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. That was very valuable, actually.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And before we leave you, Danielle is adding that Danielle finds your educational credentials quite impressive, and they believe they should get more space. So think about this as well. And I agree with, I think, Chibli, I think it was you who raised the achievements comment. Instead of having a separate achievements section, put these under the relevant work experience. That might be better, and it will also save you.
Yeah, that might be better. Yeah.
Cool. How are we doing? Are you guys ready for one more?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready for one more? Abdullah, are you here? Abdullah, I can't open your resume for some reason. It says the file could not be opened because it might be damaged, or use file format that Preview doesn't recognize. Is this PDF? What format is your resume, ya Abdullah? All right, until Abdullah comes back to us, because there's something I can't put the CV up. Is it Winnie or Vinny? If you can't put your mic on, at least type. Is it a W or a V? It's a W. Woo! Got that one right. Awesome. Thank you. So, Winnie, are you ready? I want to tell you something. The best trip I've ever had in my life was a trip to Kenya. It's a paradise. And anyways, all right. So, guys, Winnie is on screen on 3, 2, 1. There we go. Just FYI. Just FYI. I see Amr says this is definitely a CV. Galeen says it's too lengthy. Asura says more or less the same feedback as I got from mine. And the summary is a little too long. Winnie says, thank you. All right. Chibli says, great presentation. So Chibli likes the layout. There are a few grammatical mistakes, says. What is it that we like about this resume?
The outlook.
The outlook is good.
Yeah.
Was that, let me see if I got your voices. Was that Colleen speaking?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. So the outlook is good, right? I agree. It's like one color or like two colors specifically, right, are used, the lighter version and then the darker version to highlight the what do you call this? The titles on the left-hand side, right? Like on contact and skills. So there is a little bit of color, like a little bit of touch, but it's subtle enough to look professional and calm. We like that. Isuru says clear structure. Chibili says it sets a good first impression. Abdurrashid says the quantitative achievement and outlook. Very good. I like this. See, when he says certified project manager, puts you in a place, right? This is what she does. So this is great. This might be a little too long and it's taking a lot of space from first page, right? Nusrat says looks simple and clear, but a little lengthy. Nusrat, I agree with you. It's simple and clear, but I don't agree it's a little lengthy because it's too lengthy. You're just trying to be nice. But this is super long of a resume. It's a good CV. Like if you're going to give this to somebody who wants to know everything about what you've done, in some contexts, it's useful, but it might be seen as a little bit too long for a job application as to be taken as a resume. So immediate actions you can take just to make it look good, have only 2 or 3 points after each of these, right? Now here you position yourself as a project manager, which is great. Here we see project delivery lead. That makes sense. Here we say project manager. That makes sense. Program officer, that could be relevant as well. Once you say customer service representative, now you lost me. You see where I'm coming from? So this is where you know, starting here, I don't need to mention this, right? So you can easily take this whole piece out. And then this is too much, right? Under program officer, just have 2, 3, maximum 4 liners. Same thing with this one here. So you, at the maximum of your ability, try as much as possible to reach one page. And what you have could fit in one page. And one last thing, instead of saying work history, say work experience. All right? ATS again. It will pick on word experience. Daniel says, structure is good, subtle, and looks professional. Suggest the content should be reduced or summarized. When you get a chance to review mine, you would notice the newspaper-like content. Says, concise this into multiple resumes or try to gather the important information into one page. Where she says, I will put project manager first, by the way. Ali Jabrin says it's good and has a lot of achievements, but needs more than 6 seconds. Yes. So yeah, fantastic work, guys. Winnie, was that helpful to you? Awesome. All right. I know we're a little bit over time. We have a couple more and then we can leave. Amr, are you ready? My laptop is not, because it's telling me the same thing. Could not open.
I probably, what happened is that my laptop died halfway, so maybe I reattached a different file. So maybe if you can scroll over, you can find it.
Let's see it.
But I could re-upload it if you don't mind.
I got it.
Okay.
Let me see.
Okay. Okay.
Second. Well, I think I have too many of those open. Oh, I got it. All right, all right. Can we all see Amr's CV? Okay. It's a one-pager. That's it. Nothing more into what we see.
Funny thing is that I actually, by just looking at this right now and then reviewing other individuals' resumes, I can actually already pick up the mistakes that I already have.
Go for it. Share with us.
I believe that this is kind of put into like a, I don't think this is a functional resume, not in regards to the template. So as a young individual who's looking out for new positions, definitely having a functional template would make me stand out a little bit, as well as like, this is just one of my actually different resumes that I have, because I'm still second year a student in university. So usually I apply to different roles regarding just to get any experience. So probably have under each resume the role that I'm looking to apply for. So for example, this is a consulting based resume. So maybe right under my name, like a consulting associate or a consulting intern regarding that point. As well as my skills are just at the bottom regularly. So maybe, for example, have this star or 1 out of 5, for example, scale. And for example, in my professional summary as well, is just, I talk a little bit about eager to join a consulting firm, but maybe instead of using, for example, so instead of using like having a positive attitude and ready to make an immediate impact, for example, try to talk about some stuff that I know regarding consulting that can kind of make me stand out a little bit, despite that my education is not consulting based. If that makes sense.
you're now getting the logic of a resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like formatting it. Now you're getting the logic of relevance. Fantastic. But about the formatting as well, Killeen had feedback that there is a mismatch in font that she finds.
Yeah.
Then
That is also true. I realized that.
Shibli says avoid embedded hyperlinks for security reasons. That's a good point. Shibli, how would you suggest he does it? Like just type in the URL in text, or so people can copy and paste, or how do you suggest he does it?
The URL should be visible so that people can see the actual domain of which site they're going to, just to be on a safe side.
Okay.
Fantastic. We're getting a little feedback on this one. Where's everybody? You guys tired already? What's happening?
I think from what I see, it's quite clear. He's got much work experience. He's still building his resume, his CV. For what it's worth, it's quite concise. It's very clear, and it will land him where he wants. I think it's very, very, very sharp.
Abdul Rashid is raising a very interesting point. Have you seen it? Very interesting point. He says, if you've developed the Palm 3 website yourself, you could have another resume as a Python developer and add this project to your portfolio, right? Which is it the same? Like, is it this one or is it a different project?
Okay, so basically, my first point is that I'm a co-founder of a startup, but I don't want to work as a Python developer. Maybe that's why I'm returning that. But my main point in order to have this right here is that I co-founded an actual company that is, or a startup on the way on the verge to become a company. Maybe you have a really good points. Maybe I don't even need to mention Python or even any of the sources that I used, because that's not the goal that I want to show here. And the other thing is that these are other projects that I worked on that are not the startup that I have here. So these are just other projects regarding, so for example, health innovation or innovation sector, in the innovation sector.
I want to share.
But yes, you raise a good point.
I want to share a story because it's common. It's not the first time that we point this out. About what are you trying to achieve? Like here again, when you look at Amr's resume, you ask yourself, so what is his next step? What is he trying to, what problem is he solving as a professional? It's a story I shared in the other workshop from Monday about personal brand. Chibli knows this one. He was there with me there as well. When I was a kid, my father introduced me to a friend, and the friend shook his. I was like, I don't know, like 14, 15 years old. And then the guy, my father's friend, shook my hand and he was like, hi, my name is this and that. I heal people. And I was like, you do what? Like, what are you, like a psychic? Like, what do you mean you heal people? What is fishy stuff? And then both were laughing, like the friend and my father. And my father was like, oh, stop playing with the kid and this and that. And then the guy laughed and he was like, I'm a doctor. But then that resonated with me, right? I left not with a joke, but with a reflection on how am I positioning myself? Like, what is this? You can probably see, right?
A water bottle.
That's a water bottle. Thank you. That's a water bottle, right? What is a water bottle for? To hold water. What am I wearing here?
Watch.
What is the watch for? To tell you the time. Right? What am I speaking with you through? A laptop. What is the laptop for? To work. And the laptop is on a desk. What is the desk for? To put stuff on. What is Shibli for? What is Amr for? That's what you need to tell the professional world. That's the problem I solve. That's the need I fill. So back to Amr's resume, my feedback here is, it's not telling me what problem are you trying to solve. That's it. And then supported by the tools, the relevant experience, the certificates, the skills, the education, all these things are all supporting me because I want to solve that problem. That's my feedback. That's my feedback there. How was this to you, Amr?
This was very helpful.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful. Actually makes me realize that I'm gonna go and form multiple different resumes in order to tailor different industries. So for example, this is in a consulting in the professional summary. So I will try to have more relevant extracurricular experience, or mention the relevant extracurricular experience that I can have, rather than include Python and the other programming languages. But if it's an engineer, associate, for example, then I would target these points.
Fantastic. 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 And thank you for allowing us all to learn together.
Thank you so much.
I need to pause here and ask how everybody's doing, because I'm conscious of time. We're like, what, 15 minutes overtime already almost, which like we're having a fantastic discussion. Like, I don't want to go nowhere. I'm staying. I just wanted to check in. Are you guys happy to look at a couple of more CVs? Because people have shared their resumes in the chat. So are you guys happy to stay? Let's look at 2-3 more resumes so that we have covered everybody's resumes. Helene says, sure. Abdurrashid says, happy to stay. Nusrat says, yes. Natalia says, yes. Chibli says, yes. Chibli, it's your resume, by the way, coming up next, as per the queue. Where did it go? Here it is. Sandus also wants to stay. Ali wants to stay. This is awesome. This is awesome. And guys, if you don't mind, there is a poll that has gone out for you to tell us, like, give a feedback to the session. It's just scoring, right? So just make sure, please, that that you have scored the session. And Shibli is with us on the screen on 3, 2, 1. Homer says he's happy with the format. Abdurrashid said there is no title, but everything looks good, in my opinion. Abdurrashid, do you know that I understood IMO like 3 days ago? I never got what IMO means. And then 3 days ago, somebody said, it's like, in my opinion. I was like, says, rephrase work history to work experience. It's a good point. Daniel says, great format. Do you all think a focus on career achievements and awards should get a special place in the resume? That's a good question, Daniel. What do you guys think? Do you think that a focus on career achievements and awards should get a special place? Do you think there should be a dedicated space for achievements and awards? You know. Well, what would you guys have to say here?
Depends. Really, it is subjective regarding the career achievements, but you could definitely add these career achievement points under the work experience parts, unless they are just an award, for example, or like you have numerous awards, then that might take a specific section, like on the left side of Shibli's, for example, resume. So under skills, exactly where he has it, awards. But if you can mention it with the work experience, or with your education, for example. So if it's an award with the university that you went to, or an achievement or an award that you gained at a work experience or a workplace, then maybe just add it under the work experience part or the education part in order to maximize the space that you have on your resume.
Sure, I'll certainly work on that.
I'd say it depends. The whole point of a resume is to communicate relevance. So if you find it relevant to put all the achievements in one place, make it simple, subtle, minimalist kind of design. This is who I am. This is what I have achieved, straight to the point. If you find it relevant, then yes. But it's kind of difficult, for me at least, to say yes or no, because there's no right or wrong. This is where it gets subjective, like we were talking in the beginning of the session, right? It depends. It depends.
Yeah, because the idea of my CV is just to make it more functional in the way that it's showing what I can do rather than what the job requirements was for me under each of these positions that I had. You can see key responsibilities, but that's broken down into the things that I did under those key responsibilities that I was placed under. So you see, all of them are more like achievement-based, goal-oriented. What can I do? So it's like, what can I offer? That's the essence of my of this document that you're looking at.
Wonderful. Okay. I just got one last point, and I see under like work history, and then I see the freelance data scientist, digital strategist, and then right under it, I see 2019 to 2021 that you're pursuing graduate school, which is wonderful, by the way. Why isn't that not under the education part and it's under the work history part?
Because that was a career break and I was away from my country. I was in Kuala Lumpur. That's where I spent those years. So you might look at the years of my working and you might find there's a break and you might not make sense out of it. So that's just an easy way to just reflect on, oh, between this time and that time, you was abroad pursuing graduate school. That's why that's there.
Understood. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Lovely.
Cool. Do we have more to share with Shibli? Are we good?
Please, I need feedback.
Give the man feedback.
Okay, one last thing that I see is that it's such a small mistake. It's not something big, but in the professional summary, I see that there's like 2 spaces between the data. It's just when I look at it I'm assuming that I'm looking at it from a 6-second perspective. So when I look at it, I see that you're trying to fit this paragraph, and it's probably done it by the software that you're using or the websites like Canva or Word, where it adds those extra spaces in order for it to make it look like a square or a rectangle. So maybe instead of having those extra spaces in the middle, just have it all aligned to the left instead of having it positioned in the middle aspect. So it can all be positioned in the middle. I don't know if that makes sense, but I could see like by just looking at it between the and the data and the management and infrastructure and with and A, beside that, everything looked great in my opinion. Yeah, that's it.
I was actually using Canva for this design. So yeah, I'll just go back to Canva and re-edit it and download
We'll fix it right away. Yeah, I do understand because I use Canva as well, and I face the same problem sometimes.
Shibli, I have one more observation here. You highlighted your break between 2019 and 21 for your graduate. But I see on the education, you have done your BSc honors again at the same time, 2010 to 2012, which is not reflected between 2009 and 2014, which you have working as a system support staff. So we have missed that education there.
Yeah, that education was done. I was doing it under long distance, so it was more like after work I would take time off and attend school. So it was done simultaneously. That's why that is the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the rest all looks good. I mean.
Oh, thanks. But I really need critique. Thank you very much.
So if you want to hear more comment, then you can watch the video tomorrow then. Good work.
I'll try to do that.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Fantastic. Abdul Rashid is asking, are you getting callbacks with this CV?
I've actually got one callback. I recently just edited this CV like this. I've got an interview with Emirates on before June 20th anyway. It's a digital pre-screening interview. So yeah, I think from now on, I'll probably be getting a bit of positive feedback. But that's the first one. I just got the email this morning. So that's a positive.
That's the news.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. So, Shibali, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It was of a great learning piece again. And now I think we're ready for, I just don't want to miss nobody. I think we're now looking at Christos. Was that your cover letter? Is Christos still here?
Yeah, I sent a cover letter, like maybe we could discuss a sample of that if you guys want.
Yeah, because we've been looking at resumes for so long. Would you guys want to look at a cover letter for a change? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so a cover letter on 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So Killeen says, my take, a cover letter should have contact details because the recruiter might not have time to go and capture that from your resume. And I'm just saying maybe include title, address of where you are applying to. Rahim says, stop, screenshot everyone. Just all right. Let's take a look quickly on the one we had in the content. Just 1 second. This one. So here on the left-hand side, we see a good cover letter. What is the difference between this cover letter and Christos' cover letter?
I think Christos's is kind of like, for lack of a better term, all over the place. It's hard to actually conceive the idea it's trying to put across. It's a good one in great respects, but it's trying to cover too many things in one cover letter.
Mm-hmm.
That's my brief analysis, but it's a good one though.
Let's talk about what's missing in Christos' cover letter.
Okay, so what's missing from Christoph's is that I can't see his name as well as his position. So for example, Angela Taquette and Tier 2 Technical Support Specialist.
Mm-hmm.
For example, so Christoph would have something similar to that to his, as well as his own contacts, as well as...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but...
What do you mean?
No, I'm saying I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm thinking of a better way of compare this, you know. So try to do one. Let me try and do this. Is this going to be easier if we put it
Side by side.
side by side like that?
Yeah, I see.
Wait, I'm trying to. What's happening? Okay. Chat. So Daniel says, Angela's cover letter looks more formal, professional, great format. The other one looks bland. But there is one important thing at times, job applications require applicants to type a cover letter. So Sunda says contact information must be included. That's one. What else is missing in, like, let's give Christos some structured feedback. What is it that we think he needs to add? We heard contact information. We heard the company's details. What else? Ali, you said the format. What about the format? What about the format that you want Christos to change? Homer says Angela's cover letter is more concise, 2 paragraphs compared to multiple small paragraphs. And Sondo says the job title, so the job title has to be there. Very good. So yeah, like generally, and Ali's adding, it's supposed to be like a resume, I think. So just put, like, make it look like a letter, you know, like put, as you can see what Angela done here, right? There are like the personal info and then to whom it may concern. And then there is a little bit of details about the company itself. One thing about formatting, I would also add, put a border. Just put a border on the page. It will make it look much cleaner, and put a title to it. Like, just like your resume, like look what Angela done here. Christos, as you can, if you can see this, see the header of it looks almost exactly like the header of her resume here, right? So to also make it look kind of symmetrical, the cover letter with the resume, they look symmetrical. All right.
Yeah, I see. I didn't put the information because I thought that by putting them in my CV or resume, they already have them. So I just thought it's not necessary to put them in the cover letter, but apparently, yes, it is.
Says Angela isn't stating her points that is already in her resume. She's expressing her desire for the company and the role. Very good. Cool. So that was a cover letter. Christos, do you know what you need to do now?
Yes, first of all, I need to change the format and have my information same way as it would be in the resume. and maybe make it a bit shorter and reduce some of the information that should be said in the resume and not also in the cover letter. Basically, cover letter should be more about emotion, while resume should be more about the information, I think, if I understood it right.
All right. Thank you for allowing us to learn.
Thank you very much for giving me feedback.
Thank you. Thank you. Danielle, I'm trying to put your resume. Here it is. What? What's happening? Are you guys ready for Danielle's resume? You're still here, right? Yep, easier. And on 3, 2, 1. There we go. And FYI, these are 2 pages, right? So let me know when you...
pages altogether, I believe.
Yep, yeah. No, I mean that these are 2 pages.
Okay, okay.
So you guys tell me like whether you want to see the first page or the other 2 pages, and I'm going to scroll for you. Feedback. So straight, the keywords are well highlighted. Summary is too big. The structure, says the structure is a bit confusing. What's confusing about the structure? Isuru says job experience is not clearly pointed out. Nosrat says dates are missing.
No, it's a very functional design.
It's a very functional design, and I will ask you guys a direct question. You receive this. How easy for you to follow? A question in a different way. How much is this resume making you think and analyze? Because if the resume is making you think and analyze and do mental work, it means it's too challenging. It needs to be simpler. Amr says, Danielle mentions his objective in a sentence format, then mentions his professional profile in the first entire page. So this is when you say like the structure is a bit confusing. And then Amr is adding that this will definitely take more than 6 seconds to, understand what's happening. Ghibli says it's a great resume, but requires mental gymnastics to understand. Kellen says too much work, make it simpler. Awesome. So yeah, too much experience, too much knowledge, but it's kind of overshadows or distorted, right? Because of the format is not straightforward. It's not simple enough. It's loaded. The certifications and training parts, for example, this is super valuable, right? This is gold. But then with the first page looking like this, you kind of lost the person. But I have to point out something, and Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong. For senior positions, resumes are important, but senior recruiters, or sometimes it's the talent acquisition director themselves, or the talent acquisition manager themselves, are the ones reviewing these resumes. They do spend more time looking at these resumes. So
Yes, absolutely.
tell me. Danielle, did you mean to say something?
I was just vouching your thought. For a senior position, people usually spend more time than 6 seconds.
Yes, exactly. So I think in that specific context, because looking at your resume now, I think in that specific context, it's not necessarily the 6 seconds rule, right? It could be a different context. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. But generally, I'm just looking at one thing. But generally, a few things. I would rather have some sort of a positioning here, Danielle, like some sort of a personal brand coming here, right? For example, I see a lot of, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Product development and sourcing, project head consultant, product development, senior manager buying, merchandise manager. So I'm seeing the progress. You know what I would do if I were you? I would state cleanly in a list format, just like, you know, the classical resume look. I would state the position and then the achievement, because here you have the achievements. Like here, for example, project head consultant, April verse, he did this and this and this and that, right? If you're able to do this where you're highlighting the achievements, so you're director, product development and sourcing, where you have achieved this and this and this and that, and then the following position. And then you don't need a responsibility in leading and executing consultancy projects in textile industry. If you already mention your achievements, that would indicate, because this is a senior role. I'm thinking out loud with you now, and I'm thinking as a recruiter, you know, if I dig their resume, what is it that I'm looking forward to see? Hiring for a director role is hiring for somebody to solve a problem. So I want to see if that person has the right expertise or the right established experience in that domain to come and help us solve that problem, set that strategy, take care of that functions, KPIs, you know, it's like more of a senior role. That's the way I would play it if I were you. But that's super interesting. It's such a different resume tonight. Only those who stayed behind got to get this. I think we're almost half as many as we were when, like, earlier in the session. But I understand that with like 45 minutes overtime. Do you imagine that? That's awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for sharing your resume with us and helping us learn. That was amazing of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for commenting on it and helping me to to look at the faults and to have an outsider perspective on this resume. That will actually help me in improving it.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And now I am wondering if Ibrahim is here, because I cannot open Ibrahim's CV for some reason. Yes, he's here. Ibrahim, why am I not able to? Again, it says the file, like, are you sure the upload was completed? Maybe you need to re-upload it, because also showing 137 kilobytes. So you might need to, could you please reshare it if you don't mind? And then I am looking at Shreyash is not opening as well. I'm not sure if it's my Zoom or wait. Ah, there it is. So we have seen Amr, Chibli, and Danielle. All right. So we're good to go. Shreyash, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Man, there are more pages, right?
Yeah, just 2 more pages.
Ah, there we go. Because it's okay. I see Amr is getting busy. Ibrahim, thank you for sharing your resume again. Right next, right after Shreyas. We'll put it next. Guys, you're getting sleepy. Come on. What happened? Where's the feedback?
I think it pulls off a really good kind of presentation. Only each employer has their own sort of, sorry. Each employer has their own technologies, you know, that they were using, that he was using under that particular title. So I think it would be best to just create a category of skills or technologies or something, and add all those, more like a word cloud of some sort. Just like the way everyone does it, just like include it, make it easy for anyone to understand that these are the skill sets that you have, these are languages, programming, or cloud services that you can use. Just make it very easy. Don't put it under each job title. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, I have to leave. Sorry about that, but I have to leave.
I just seen Amr's message as well. So you guys are going to leave me alone on the screen right now because everybody else had to stay off video. But it was fantastic having you guys here. And thank you for being on video all the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye,
You too.
everyone.
Bye, guys. Namarek says, I think when you state multiple projects, you can say what these projects are by naming them. Very good. And Amr is adding, mention that you are an engineer under your name. So have some sort of a positioning again here, right? Like state yourself or like position yourself. And also, Amr is saying you don't need to put name before your name. So I think what Amr is trying to say is that here on this piece, you can easily remove this, you know, and just have your name bigger as a title, as a big title to the page.
All right.
Yeah. Any other feedback, guys? I'll say have this as a paragraph and mention the company's name, mention the role. Remember the keywords, situation. Make sure you mention all of those. Again, history, if you remember, we want to have it as experience.
Okay.
And you don't need to explain about the company, what it does. The most important thing is what you have achieved. This is the transferable skill part. And Daniel is asking in the chat, is it advisable to club work experience of short tenure, 1-2 years in multiple companies under one segment of work history? I would still keep them separate because they are separate positions with separate, assumingly, responsibilities, right? If they're
So probably I'm an old school. When I see a resume having shorter tenures, the message I get about the candidate is that the candidate is not of steady nature, likes to jump, hop in the professional career. I don't get the seriousness in the candidate when I see people having experiences of like 1 to 2 years and they're hopping around. So for that, in order to address that, this is what my opinion is, or this is what I'm asking from everyone, that is it advisable to club work experiences of short tenure just to help such candidates to give a better impression to the resume reader?
But are you still going to mention that they are different companies?
Yes, absolutely.
Then what's the difference?
The difference is that one advantage, the major advantage it will have, it will instead of mentioning, so whatever you mention on your resume, it eats up the space. It takes certain space. So when you club everything in one segment, it will obviously indicate or reflect upon all the experience, but it will take less space as compared to writing down short tenures in multiple companies separately.
I would say it depends on the relevance again. Like if things are relevant, like if I have too much of work experience and if I club things, I can fit more and less or things like that. But then some people, Daniel, like if my whole career is 2-3 years long, then clubbing things will make it, look too summarized or too, what's the word? Compacted. You know what I mean? Like my work now is going to be like one little paragraph.
Right. So am I getting it correct that it is not necessary to have a resume of one page?
Ideally, yes, until like a separate, like, or a specific career level. I cannot go and ask a CEO, for example, to put a resume in one page. How?
And I completely agree with that. This is what the major challenge I face when I update my resume. I usually, if you look at my resume again, you would notice that I have not mentioned the responsibilities I had in my in the jobs I had in the past. I had not mentioned those responsibilities in my resume. So you're right that the length of the resume varies from the role you are playing in your professional career, or you have played in your professional career.
So what, Daniel, what we tried to do today is to have the logic of what a good resume is and to look at things from the employer perspective, right? The recruiter perspective. So building on this, I wouldn't be like bold enough to say this is the right way of doing things, but there are best practices. And for a certain level of a career progression, or like, you know, at some point, resume is not even a relevant document anymore. It's about reputation, it's about connection, you know, it's about people already know each other. It becomes a different game. Like for somebody to apply to a CEO position via a resume, it's going to be a very different conversation, right? Like back to Shreya's resume, for example, I see that this is almost, how many years are these, Shreya?
3 years almost.
3 years, okay. And then here, these are 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And a half. And here there is a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
And then here we have 6 months.
Okay, I think I've done something bad here. I've not put a proper date. I just realized that now. Okay, yeah.
But one thing I also don't get, like one last piece of feedback, Shreyash, is what is it that you're trying to achieve here? What is your positioning?
I work as an engineer.
Put it. So have it on the title there, Shreya. And then what kind of engineer?
Software.
Software engineer.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Ibrahim, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you for waiting, man.
And before you open Ibrahim's resume, I would like to thank you everyone for your feedback. I would definitely incorporate that.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to learn, all of us. And guys, Ibrahim's resume, it's the last resume we have to view. So I would appreciate everybody's feedback on this. This is the last one, guys. So please, let's be generous with the feedback that we want to give to Ibrahim. Let's be vocal. Let's give him feedback.
Okay, the first impression I have about the photo, you have the company logo of the photo. I think that's doesn't make sense. You're looking for another company now. Why you bought the logo of your company?
Yeah, it's like meeting a new lady and she wants to see how you look like, and then you send her your picture with another woman.
Exactly.
You wouldn't want to do that, right? And then what do you guys think of the, I really like that Ibrahim mentioned the positioning here. Could be a little bigger to highlight it, to go with the, as a title, right? For the summary, same thing. Ibrahim, for the summary, try to be, try to make it like a story. I am this kind of person. I have this kind of experience. And this is a good point. Like I remember we mentioning about having the URL instead of a hyperlink, right? So that's a good thing that here you have the URL, but then this is too long here. Mention 2, 3, 4 maximum, 4 lines, including all the achievements, you know, the key responsibilities and your achievements. For example, here you can mix this line with an achievement, Ibrahim. You can say develop the partners by performing monthly technical trainings, teaching them on order forms, double visit to the end users, right? Try to embed numbers here. Develop the partners by performing monthly technical trainings. How many? By performing, for example, 3 technical training batches per month. And then teaching them on order forms. How many order forms or what tool, right? Double visit to the end user, for example. Another example, responsible for managing sales and achieving AOP and the business plan within the MEA region. Give us some targets. Responsible or achieved X AOP, you know, conducted that successful business plan, you know, put a little bit of quantitative achievement there. Here, for example, you say fully responsible for lead coaching and supporting the channel distributions every step, blah, blah, put a number. How many distributors, right? And what is the achievement there? If there is a satisfaction figure, increase in sales, increase in what do you call this, response time, or whatever it is that the unit you use to measure. And then you will end up with having less, because here you'll say, can I, like here you said 15 supplier. I love having that number here, right? Here, when you say restructuring the area by changing dealers, developing blah, blah, blah. Can you measure this? Is a KPI here relevant? If you say no, I can't really put a number to this, then you know that this is a line you can remove. But if you come here, for example, and you say, I can put a number here, then this is a line that should stay, and add a number to it. See what I mean? And then you will end up with much less words here and a lot of more space. So the CV becomes in a 1 page. Same feedback on the rest of the work experience here. This is important. This is very important, but please be very picky to mentioning only the relevant things to the role you're applying to, right? Like maybe, for example, you're applying for a German, what do you call this? Like the medical equipment and stuff. What do you call this? Isn't this what you do?
Yeah, medical equipment.
Medical equipment. So what here is something that is not very relevant to medical equipment, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it's all medical equipment certificate. But yeah, I can remove some maybe exhibitions.
I tell you what I would do. Instead of saying exhibiting in Reha Care, Dusseldorf, Arab Health, Africa Health Expedition, right? Or exhibition. Put them all in one line. Exhibiting in Reha Care, Arab Health Expedition, and Africa Health Edition in the years this and this and this and this and this and this. Because if you say, I was in Germany on 2011 and there was an Arab Health Exhibition in 2010, it's the same as saying, I've been to Germany and the Arab Health Exhibition on 2010 and 2011. Nobody cares which, right? As long as you say, I've been to these exhibitions. So if you put them together in one line, it will still, you have mentioned them, it's serving the purpose and everything, but now you don't have to be too specific so it doesn't get too long, right? So think about these small things. But overall, looks great. Looks great.
All right. Yeah. Actually, I like your comment and the gentleman comment about the picture. It's funny, but it's true. I'll do that changes tonight. The picture and the profile, the summary. Yeah. Thank you for that.
You know what you can do? You can just crop it. Like if you don't, it's easy to take a new picture. Any day you're in a suit, just have a plain background like a wall or something, smile widely, have somebody take a picture of you with a good camera, and there you go.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Else you can just crop it so that only your face is appearing as long as the resolution is good. So only the face is appearing, and then nobody knows what logo is it behind you.
All right.
How helpful was that?
Yeah, actually really helpful, especially looking to other CVs and to see where you stand out. So I really appreciate your time. You put a lot of time and effort on that. Cannot appreciate you enough. So thank you so much, really.
Don't say any of that. No need for all of this. I love you guys very much. I can do this all night. The most important thing is that you guys are like empowered. You have the feedback you want, and now you see some blind spots. You go like, this is why people are not calling me back, or this is how I can increase my chances. There is more. Again, to summarize, if you haven't gone through the previous workshop on personal branding, we have recorded it. It's there. It's much shorter than this one. We actually stuck to the 2 hours. We have another one on networking next Monday, and we have another one on how to crack an interview. And it's going to be not only me, but Merit, the co-founders of Qureos, will also be there for this one, how to crack an interview and how to make an impression, sell yourself properly in a professional interview. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys there. Just curious to see who's our survivors now. Abdul Rashid, Ali, Danielle, Fatima, Ibrahim, Isuru, Kilin, Namariq, Natalia, Nusrat, Shreyash, Vanessa. How are you guys doing? How was this? Can you just like unmute, say a few words, like how did you find today's session? I know it was super long. We've been 3 hours together. Well, how did you find it? How was this a good use of your time? What did you learn, basically? What are you taking away from the session? I would love to hear.
I would like to say today's session was very interactive, very, very interactive. And it was very insightful. And I'm looking at my younger sister's CV resume, and I know that I can actually now revamp it for her, considering she's just from campus. And I really appreciate that you take your time, Mina, to do this and help young professionals and even old professionals, because I saw someone with like 20 years of experience within this session. So it was a nice experience for me. It was a nice experience, and getting to interact with other people with vast backgrounds. It was good. That's all I can say.
It was super encouraging. You just made my day. Thank you.
It was an amazing session. I really gained a lot of knowledge, and from today morning sessions also I got with you that into more practical perspective here as well, with all the feedback from everyone. And thank you everyone, and especially thank you. I mean, it was a great session. Quite good knowledge. I'm gonna get into it right away. Thank you so much.
Good luck. And thank you for coming. I was waiting for you.
Thanks for inviting. Thanks for inviting for me for this. It was really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for this. This was really, really like very thoughtful. I was literally searching like this is like I just want to say something because I was always looking for this kind of room for someone to review my CV. And every time I would go somewhere, they'd be like, you need to pay this amount and do all of this. And I genuinely want to say thank you because you have actually saved my resume life. And now I'm literally going to go back and review everything. So thank you to you for your efforts. Thank you to everyone here. This has been genuinely so amazing. I just want to say thank you and have a great day.
You too. No, if I'm not asking too much, could you please repeat what you like your feedback again?
I just wanted to say thank you again because, as I mentioned, this is just like very thoughtful. I was looking for something like this for a very long time. Every time I would ask someone, they would just come up with like, you need to do this and that, and you have to pay this amount and all of this. And having these kind of things, these kind of communities, especially for someone like me who's a fresh graduate, who's just like confused and just want to know where exactly I should, go with my career. So this was really helpful, and I now know like what is missing and what I need to work on and what's not. So yeah, again, thank you for everyone and thank you for the efforts.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for staying.
Thank you.
As well. And thank you for sharing your resume earlier for us to take a look at it and give feedback. It was a fantastic learning experience. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also reading in the chat that Ibrahim says, totally agree, very interactive and helpful. Abdul Rashid says, enjoyed, very interactive, hoping to get a call back from what I learned here. Fingers crossed. We apply what we have chatted, and then let's see if we get results. And Natalia says, thank you very much for this session. It was very insightful. Many good tips. Fantastic to hear. All right, cool. Anybody else to share feedback before we drop?
Yes, Mina.
Go for it.
It has been a very wonderful session. We have learned a lot from here, and hopefully we'll try to implement as much as we can. And also we'll try to help others as well, because it's not something just remains with you. It has to keep passing on. And I learned two more things here. I've seen something from the recruiter side, which is hardly seen. Usually we submit the CV and we don't know what exactly happening behind the scene. And you just open your eyes, you understand what exactly they look for and how the CVs goes into screening and what exactly the recruiters do. And the second more thing is you're shown something which really makes a person or breaks a person. Because CV is something which really is a selling thing for you. If you are good and representing yourself, then you are out onto the world. Otherwise, you're just like behind others for falling behind. So take this opportunity again and really thank you and your team for wonderful efforts. And hopefully we'll continue with a few more sessions going on. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. And again, thank you for staying over. Does anyone, before we officially conclude, does anyone want to share their aha moment or like a key takeaway? Like I heard this or I saw this as someone else's resume and I was like, poof, I've never thought about it this way, or that's news to me. And but this is something I want to apply right now. Anything of that sort.
I did find a mistake in my resume. Like I did mention the wrong years, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how closely that resembles to the questions you have said. But one thing that the key takeaway for me is I need to proofread my resume very, very nicely before applying.
Very good. Very good to know. Natalia, I see you unmuted. Something you want to share? Okay, she's gone. Guys, I thank you so much for the engagement, for the interaction, and I thank everybody for putting their resume out there. For those who joined us later, people have been sharing their resumes in the chat. We've been putting them on the screen. Everybody was giving everybody feedback. It was fantastic for the past hour and a half or so. And yeah, Natalia says in the chat that she wanted to share something, but she has a problem with the mic. Natalia, will still be very curious to hear what you have to say. So if the mic is not working, could you please just drop your feedback in the chat? That would be fantastic. So I just thank you guys for giving me and everybody else here the opportunity to share, be inspired with all the best practices that we saw. The recording is going to be shared later in an email. Like I mentioned, there will be a link to the recording. And please feel free to book a one-on-one with me. Like I mentioned, you go to the platform, like I pointed out earlier, you go to the platform, you book a one-on-one, you will be able to book a 30 minutes. We'll go over your resume, like very tactically and clinically. We'll see how to make sure that your resume is properly conveying the relevance and the fit for the role that you want to communicate with the employer. This being said, if I keep you back for one more minute, I'm going to feel very bad. So I would say this is it. I'm very happy to see people who have joined the employer, what do you call this? The personal branding workshop from last Monday, and then they showed up today as well. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you guys later on Monday for the networking workshop. And I've just got to see Natalia's feedback. Natalia says, well, looking at resumes, you asked many times, what are you looking for? How are you positioning yourself? And that was an aha moment for me. Yeah. So you need to make sure that the resume is conveying what impact are you trying to make. Make sure that under your name, you have a one-liner of 2-3 words that describe who are you or what is it that you want to make, so that that the recruiter is not lost. Like, she's done electrical engineer and design and did this and that. So what is this trying to achieve, right? So always make sure you position yourself right. That being said, I wish you all a good night or a good day, wherever you are. Take care of yourself. You know how to find me if you need any help. And thank you guys so much again for being here tonight. You take care. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, Nusrat. Ibrahim, good night. Good night, Kilim. Bye, Namariq.